I'm not supposed to be buying any more unpainted furniture until I get rid of some out of my storage unit because I have a lot. However, I could not resist this bench, and as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly which colour I was going to paint it. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week's video, I'm going to be doing a simple paint finish on this because as soon as I saw this up for sale on Facebook Marketplace, before I'd even arranged to go and pick it up, I knew exactly what colour this bench needed to be. This bench does not identify as wooden. This bench identifies as colour. And can you guess what colour I'm going to do this? You've probably already seen it on the thumbnail or on social media, so that was a ridiculous question. But the colour in question is going to be red. There was only one colour that I saw this bench. I don't know if anybody else does the same with unpainted pieces, and as soon as you see them, you know exactly what colour it's going to be. Some pieces I really don't. Some pieces get repainted. Some pieces sit unpainted in my storage unit for months, sometimes years, I'm not proud to say it, because I just don't have the inspiration for them. And I even sometimes, if I don't have the inspiration for them, I just put them back up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. But other pieces, it just comes to me straight away, like this one. It needed to be red, so that's exactly what it's going to be. And obviously this piece is waxed because I seem to have a habit of picking up wax pieces. It's not a problem, it can absolutely still be painted, but you do need to take the wax off a piece before painting. No matter what paint you use, I would always advise to take wax off a piece. Now, I have already covered this in an older video on my YouTube channel, which I'll link now top right if you wanted to go and have a look at how I do that. So I'm going to do that off camera and I'll come back when it's all prepped and de-waxed. So this bench is made out of pine. Pine is quite a soft wood and it can get marked quite easily. So on top of this, there were some deep scratches. Actually, it looked like it had been made by a dog, possibly a cat. So I filled those with wood filler and then sanded them smooth. And then the next thing I did is treated all the knots. As you can see, there's a few knots on here, not that many, but there are some knots in pine, and that is absolutely normal. Then you always need treating with knotting solution. You can get that off Amazon. And then I'm putting a clear primer. This is Dixie Belle's Bond Emboss. It comes in 3 colours. The reason I'm using clear is because I'm going to distress this piece, so I don't want to see a white or a grey primer underneath the paint. I want to see wood. So I just applied 2 coats of this, and the most important thing you need to do with Dixie Belle's Bond Emboss, because it's a water-based primer, is leave it to dry for 24 hours before you start painting. When you can start painting, I'm just going to use one colour for this. It's going to be a nice, simple, plain finish, which I think is going to suit this bench really nicely. I'll link the specific colour that I've used in the description below. I knew exactly what colour I wanted to use, like I say at the start of this video, before I'd even pick this bench up. So to start out with, I've just got a little bit of tap water in my continuous mister bottle. That mister bottle puts a really fine mist of water on your piece of furniture. It doesn't give a big kind of splodge of water. You don't want too much, just a little bit to help the paint go a little bit further, and it also makes it glide on nice and smooth. And because Dixie Belle paint is super pigmented, you can absolutely either dilute your paint down if you wanted to do it that way, or I just like spritzing my surface and my brush with a little bit of water before I start. Like I say, it makes such a difference when you are using chalky kind of paints to use a little bit of water, and Dixie Belle paint is so pigmented you can add quite a lot of water to this and still get excellent coverage. Reds usually take 2 to 3 coats. I did 3 coats in total of this, just to make sure it had total coverage, and obviously I wanted that punchy, vibrant shade, so I did 3 coats in total. And then all I wanted to do with the distressing is just do the edges and corners. I don't want to distress anything else, and I think when you are painting a solid colour like this one, a little bit of distressing around the corners and edges really helps to break up that solid colour. This sandpaper that I'm using is just an old sanding sheet that was kind of worn down. It was originally a 120 grit, but obviously the grit has kind of softened a little bit. So I just find these are the best for taking off all the paint. I'm only going to do edges and corners, so again it's going to expose the natural wood and break that red kind of bulky colour up. And then to finish this project, I usually steer towards waxes because I just love how they look on pieces, but I think this piece, because it's obviously going to be used for storage and possibly people sitting on it, I think this needs to have a little bit more durability. So I'm using Dixie Belle's Clear Coat in a satin finish. The reason I like this so much is because it's a gel formula, so it's really easy to work with. You don't get any streakiness or brush strokes in it. I'm just using one of Dixie Belle's synthetic brushes to apply this with. And if you've got a big flat surface like this bench, what is a really good idea to do, what I found kind of reduces streakiness as well, is if you alternate the direction that you put your top coat on. So I normally do 2 to 3 coats of varnish when I'm varnishing something. And the first coat I put on kind of left to right, as you can see me doing here, and then the second coat, once it's completely dry, I did from front to back or back to front, so that you are alternating the direction that your top coat has been put on. And I find that helps reduce streakiness, brush strokes or anything like that showing up on your piece, especially when you are working on large flat surfaces like this one with very little detail. Another tip for your top coat is to decant it. I don't always do this, but it is best practice to decant a top coat, just because you are not then putting any contaminants back into your jar of top coat. So I always put a little bit in a tub like this or a paper plate. And if you're working in a cold environment, or if it's starting to dip cooler where you are, like it is in the UK, it's really handy to dip your pot or sit it in some warm water before you use your top coat. It can just loosen it up a little bit and just help it really glide on. A final tip that I'll give you for top coats, and this goes for any top coat, whether it's a water-based clear coat or a wax, is to build up your coats in thin layers. Don't try and apply it all thickly in one coat. You're just going to get in a right mess with it. So 2 to 3 even thin layers is better than one thick one. I was tempted to add a little bit of black wax onto this piece at the end, but I decided not to. Here's a few close-ups of the finished bench. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you next time.